Hi, I'm Susie. I do have new words from the Lord, but I'll be doing them separately because I feel like I need to talk a little bit, and I have some exciting things to share. So, and I have some new viewers, so I'm just going to give a word about myself so you know who you're listening to. And I'm going to tell you some really cool things that I want to share with you that happened to me just within the last couple days, okay? So, my story is that I have been a believer all my life. Um, I really became born again. When I was 25 years old, I was baptized along with my husband. And I was always drawn to spiritual things my whole life. I started going to church when I was 3, 4 years old with a neighbor, and that's what got me turned on. I was always drawn to spiritual things, but I didn't have any reinforcement in my home. So I only had a child knowledge of Christ up until because I stopped going to church when I was 12 years old. My dad made me stop. And I was kind of a wild child during my teen years. And then I settled down, got married, and became born again. I was baptized at age 25 with my husband and became born again. And I really had that aha moment where everything, was different. I felt the Holy Spirit and everything. So I asked God what He wanted me to do, now that I was really 100% on board with Him. And He gave me Ezekiel 3, 15, 16, 17, right around there. Anyway, I felt like I was ordained as a watchman at that time. And the church I was going to, which was Seventh-day Adventist, which I left 20 years later, but that church was really into the end times talk, and they acted like it was right here. And this was in 1978. So, it really wasn't right there yet. And I never felt like it was, so close. So moving along, when 9/11 happened, 2001, that was a wake-up call for me. And I started going more into that watchman role because I started paying more attention to the current events, what's happening in the world, what's happening in politics, which I never really cared about before. And so I really started paying attention and even doing a little research on certain things. And I started to feel like we're getting closer, but I still didn't feel like the end was here. But when I really started to feel like the end was really here was just this past November, before the election even, when I saw how extreme people got on both the left and the right politically in America. I felt like it was all wrong. I'm an independent, moderate. I consider myself a moderate conservative, independent. And I agree with some things on both sides, but I don't agree with the extreme things on either side. And I believe that that's the way we should go. Of course, that's what I think. But anyway, that woke me up to how crazy the world was getting. These political campaigns and all the lies and exaggerations and deceptions and so many things out there that really made me realize, boy, this has to be the end. And then, of course, the things that are going on, on planet Earth, in nature changes and UFOs and all this stuff going on, right? So anyway, I became aware of all these things, and that's when I really decided we were at the end. And I started getting more serious about being ready. And plus, I'm getting old. I'm 73 years old, right? but really seeing all these end time things, and I started watching all these things on YouTube about the end times, which I know, like I'm saying, this is November when I started watching these things on YouTube. I know some of you have been following this rapture business for years, and I don't know how you could do it, because right now I just feel so overwhelmed with all this, but it's all I want to know. It's all I want to do. God has taken away from me all of my worldly desires. And that's where I had to come to that place, because I was, um, I was having some fun in my retirement here. I was having some fun, and I just felt like in order to get closer to God, He took these things away from me. He showed me things, and I lost my desire, and I was able to step away from worldly pleasures, and I started praying on my knees again, which I hadn't done. Really, I hadn't done that a lot in my whole life. I did when my kids were little, when I first started going to church regularly, but then I got away from that, where I would pray in any position, on the couch, on the chair, in the bed, whatever, and in my car a lot. And, but I started taking more serious time with the Lord, and just really emptying out every single um, thing. And He kept showing me deep in me more and more, things that I need to let go of. And then one day I heard Him telling me that He wanted me to write. I kept hearing the word write in my head, write, write. And I knew it was WRITE, not the other kind of write. I just knew it. It was almost like it was written and seeing it in my head. That was the first time I was aware of God speaking to me in a prophetic type of way. Okay, I've heard Him speak to me before in personal situations, but this was the first time I felt called to do something prophetic. And so I got that pen and paper, and the words just started flowing. And that was, I always forget, it was December or January. I'm talking about 2025 January, right? So I haven't been doing this long, but it has been coming often, 2-3 times a week. He speaks to me, and I've been putting it on YouTube. So that's my background for any of you that are not familiar, so you know where I'm getting this from and a little bit of my background. Okay, I've been 50 years studying the Word. I have no degree. I've been to many, many, many seminars and Bible studies and all that. I've learned from many places, and 15 years in Andy Stanley's church, North Point, which is a huge mega church. But he taught me how to have that personal relationship, and I just been growing, and here I am. God's using me, and I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that you guys are listening. So now I want to tell you that I had it. I started talking recently about I felt like a false rapture was going to happen before the real rapture, which I believe is very soon. So the false rapture is going to happen really soon also. And I started seeing more about this on YouTube. But the other day, I heard a knock, knock, knock 3 times when I was sleeping. And I got up. I didn't hear it twice, so I didn't even bother looking out the window or anything. But I did look at my clock, and it was exactly 5 o'clock, 5:00 on my cell phone. I just went to the bathroom, went back to sleep. Right? I'm retired. I have no schedule most of the time. If I don't have an appointment or somewhere I need to be, I might not look at the clock all day. Doesn't matter what time it is. So I didn't look at the clock all day again. And then when I did pick up my phone and saw the time, it was 5 o'clock, 5:00 exactly p.m. So that was twice in one day I saw that. And then remembering that knock, 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 but it's just this Jesus telling me I need to look up that number 500. So I looked it up in the Strong's Concordance. And that's the only place I looked. If you guys know another place to learn about numbers, please, put it in the comments for me. But in the Strong's Concordance, in the Hebrew, it said, God is going up. And so, wow, I thought about the Antichrist, of course, right? And then when I looked it up in the Greek, it said, God, I don't know if it was the same one, but on my notes, here I have it. In the Greek, it said, opponent of God. Yeah. And it's Antichrist. So that kind of threw me. But I believe that he was confirming the rapture, the fake rapture, the Antichrist that's going to look like Antichrist, or people are going to think of the Antichrist, whatever. The God is fake, it's going to be faked, right? Going up, it said God is going up, and then in Hebrew and Greek, it said opponent of God, Antichrist is going up. So I believe that's going to happen. Be forewarned. And I believe it's going to have something to do with fake signs in the sky for sure. It might be in the clouds, something like, looks like Jesus, looks like angels, but it won't be as big as the real rapture. And it might be something with UFOs, with aliens. You got to remember that the fallen angels are capable of taking on different forms. They can look like aliens. They can look like people. Angels can do that. They also can do miracles, but their miracles are not as big as God's miracles. They're deceiving miracles. Okay, and then I wanted to share with you this one video that popped up on my feed, which is almost a miracle in itself because the video is 11 years old. But this guy named Mark Chin made it, and it is in kind of an AI format, but it is his voice, I think, and his name is on it. But it was so spot on for what I wanted to hear. I was looking for something like this because it gives you in exact chronological order the signs right before Jesus coming, before the rapture. It's so good. And I put it on my playlist. And I also put one on my playlist about AI, AI, big red flag, okay? And that's a big sign of the times. Artificial intelligence, it's not of God, and it's very deceiving. And now the one that I put on my playlist, it's a pastor from Calvary Chapel talking about it. Now they have these AI chats available where they say you're talking to God, you're talking to Jesus Christ, and they pretend they're Jesus, and and people are using them. It says that this one in the first 3 days that it was out there, it got 30,000 monthly subscribers. Monthly, that means that they're joining, even paying to join. 30,000 every day, the first 3 days they were online. So a lot of people are falling for this. Warn your friends. People are falling for this. They're confessing their sins to it. They're asking it for advice and asking about Bible questions and everything. Don't do it with AI. Do it with your Bible. Do it directly to God. That's all you need. Okay. The AI system is leading up to the mark of the beast. It's a tool they're using towards the mark of the beast, just like things that are happening with your cell phone. And I mean, there's so much stuff, but all you have to do is look at what Elon Musk is doing with AI, with the Neuralink, and another big sign of the times that if you're not familiar, you need to look at it. The CERN, what's happening there, that they're creating energy, trying to create like God. I mean, I don't know how you can't believe we are in the last days. Anyway, this one 11-year-old Mark Chin, and I have it on my playlist, okay? He says in the chronological order, first the auroras, which have been happening over the past months or year. I know that there's been auroras as far south, the northern lights as far south as North Florida and Georgia have seen them. And he mentions the northern lights as well as the southern lights. And that's the first sign. And then the red sky, which I have seen just this past couple of days, people right here where I am in Central Florida, a really red sky, more red than you've ever seen it before. You know, everybody's seen some red sunsets or sunrises, but this is like a solid red color at sunset. We had it right here in Central Florida the other day. And that's a sign he mentioned. And he mentioned a cosmic events, plural. Now, you know all the UFO sightings. That's old news now, right? But there's that one that it's called Atlas 1, I think it is, or Atlas 2 or 3 or something, but it's named Atlas something with a number. And it's coming towards Earth at a speed never seen before with headlights and no tail like a comet, and lights illuminating where it's going. Almost everybody thinks it's a giant spaceship, right? And it may be, I don't know what it is exactly, but I know it's a sign for us to pay attention to. And he mentioned this 11 years ago. 11 years ago. I knew, wow, I haven't heard any prophecy about that one. He mentioned a UFO, unknown object. He didn't call it a UFO. He said an unknown object coming towards Earth at great speed. That's happening right now. And then he said, an earthquake, great earthquake is going to be felt all over. A great earthquake. And then soon after that earthquake, very soon after that earthquake, the 3 days of darkness. And he says that there's a little time after the earthquake for people to get to their safe place, their home, or with family, or, you know, some kind of safe shelter to spend those 3 days of darkness. And that during that time, like many of you are aware, heard from different people, that and you can get these from the Bible also. It is the sixth seal in Revelation 6, at the end of Revelation 6, 6:12 exactly. Anyway, God reveals during the darkness, God reveals to the bride that they are the bride, and they are transformed, and they're sent out after the darkness, sent out to help the people that still need to come to Christ or need to come back. People are woke up. The reason God is doing this darkness time is for people to come, get on their knees, repent, and come to him. And many will during the 3 days of darkness, because it's not just it's going to be more than just no electricity. Everybody can survive that, because it's going to be dark in the daytime as well. And you're probably not going to have cell service, because something big is happening to cause this darkness. So that is the main things that I wanted to share. And I'm so glad you listened. And I want you to please go to my playlist and look at those. I'm only saving on there those really good videos that everybody needs to watch. That's what I'm putting on the playlist. Okay. So I am, right after this, I'm going to be releasing my words that I got for the Lord, from the Lord. Here they are. I got 2.5 pages here that I'm going to be reading, and just after I get off of this, I'm going to do that too for you. Okay, God bless you. I love you all. I'm so thankful that you guys are awake, or you wouldn't be watching this. And stay